The slow and simple life, defining your true potential. I think that's what Portugal is about. And I felt so alive. There's a filter in the air that brings a lot of joy and happiness. And the city it was calling me. It felt like home.
On this week's episode, I'm joined by Jemi Laclé. Jemi is originally from Aruba, having lived all over the world in places like Brazil, Japan, the US. Jemi has called Portugal her home for the last 3.5 years. Jemi is an international consultant for the World Bank and is the founder of the non-profit organization, the Young Collectors Circle in Lisbon. We discuss, amongst other things, why Jemi chose to move to Portugal and what she enjoys about living here, life outside of Lisbon. We talk about food, we talk about people, we talk about nature, but mostly we dig deep into what brings Jemi joy right here in Portugal. For those of you listening, head over to our YouTube channel to watch some of this episode. And for those of you watching, click down below and subscribe. And for the full podcast episode, go to Google, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. And now over to my conversation with Jemi. Welcome back, or welcome to another episode of Portugal, The Simple Life. And I'm really happy to be joined here by Jemi Laclé. Jemi, thank you so much for being on the podcast. How are you? You've been doing a lot of traveling. How's everything been going?
Thank you, first of all, Dylan, for having me on the podcast. It's a true pleasure. Yes, I've been traveling for the past more or less 3 weeks. We all need a little bit of time down, right? For ourselves as well. So I'm happy to have this conversation now that I'm back.
Likewise. Thank you for making the time. Why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about you?
Absolutely. So, hi, I'm Jemi Laclé, and I'm from a small island that is located in the Caribbean. It's part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. It's called Aruba, and it's an island with 120,000 people. So I come from a really small community. However, it's a very multilingual, multicultural island. Yeah, I've been now for over almost 20 years living abroad, and I'm an international trade and development specialist. I focus on youth and development, sustainability, and human-centered innovation. And I've been now for 3.5 years in Portugal. So it's my newest home.
How did Portugal get on your radar? How did you first discover Portugal?
Portugal came actually on my radar because of friends that were traveling throughout Europe. I was living in the US at that moment, and we just wanted actually a better quality of life. I have a quite demanding daytime job, and we just wanted to live in a livable place where there's a little bit more nature. I'm from an island, so for me, being closer to the ocean and the water is extremely crucial. However, in 2017, I made a short visit and I felt so alive. There's a filter in the air that brings a lot of joy and happiness. And the city it was calling me. It felt like home.
Tell us about your day-to-day life and the things that you appreciate about being here.
I find joy in sparkles in everyday activities. So for me, living here, it's been a roller coaster for us, all of us. We have our daily challenges, but also the little sparkles of life, right? And so it's a busy life. I can't deny that, but it doesn't take away that even though there are many challenges that come along my way, I truly enjoy living here. And I moved also outside of the city. I moved closer to the ocean. So for me, having my day-to-day routines, going to the ocean, to meditate, to take a walk, to just soak up the sun and the ocean breeze, that really brings me joy on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. I think you used an interesting phrase there, finding sparkles in Portugal. I like that. And what are those sparkles for you? Because when we do have this busy life, when it's nonstop, and we do get a time to stop, it is when we uncover those magical things about this place that aren't complicated, are simple. What are those things that you appreciate amidst all the busyness?
I think just by living in a small community, a very small town here in Portugal, while still engaging in worldly issues, for me, it's just beautiful as well. But the blend of Portugal in general, for me being close to the water, having nature. So I'm not too far from Sintra, where you can actually go in forests and hike. And yeah, the simple pleasures of life, of just having really great conversations, good food that is just, prepared with heart and soul. Those small things really, really are important for me. And just really being surrounded by genuine people.
What do you think makes the Portuguese different, unique, special in comparison to other places that you've lived in and other people that you've interacted with?
I think that Portuguese are very humble people. And I think that is something that is still it's quite hard to find nowadays in today's world. But I think they're just very beautiful people. Once you open up, they will open up to you as well.
But how's that experience been for you? Sort of experiencing this different aspect or this different part of Portugal.
No, it's been a true pleasure to move out of the city and moving to a smaller town where people actually know each other and really engage into beautiful conversations on the day-to-day, small things in life. And there's a specialty shop with local wines, cheese, and nice pastries, a local padaria.
Dangerous pastries, but nice pastries.
That's the real essence of life at the end of the day, that you have this community where you have conversations with people, know each other, where we greet each other, where, yeah, people are involved in your life.
We'll talk about nature just now because it's something pretty special in Portugal as well. But the depth and of connecting with people, that true connection, because we lose that connection in big cities. We lose that connection in the modern world because we're on our devices and we've got our earphones plugged in. And here you come to a place where people look at you in the eye and you feel the warmth. How rewarding and nourishing has that been for you, Jemi?
Extremely. And I'll give an example as well. So last year when I moved, I actually didn't have a main window, which was interesting. So it was a period that it was raining a lot. There
Okay.
were heavy storms. And I think that was the moment that I realized as well, this is the place to be, where I really needed to be at this exact moment in the phase of life that I'm at. So it was raining so heavily that I had a flooding in my apartment.
Oh
It
my
was,
goodness.
so I just moved in, it was less than a week. But the day after, when I was walking around, everyone was helping each other. So the whole community was helping each other with the floodings in the houses and just really like being there for one another. I was hearing the conversations in a coffee place of like, oh, and there's this foreign girl that just moved. And yeah, she even had to like go to the hotel because her place got flooded, but we don't know who she is. And
Oh.
then I turned around and everyone's like, oh, but who are you? You're new in town. And I know we're like, oh, you're the one. So it was just this beautiful moment of realizing that people are really there for one another to
Mm.
provide a helping hand when things also get rough. The whole notion of being part of a community is so crucial. So for me, moving around the world, I'm in the phase of life that now I want to be at a place where I can call home, where I can also have these deeper connections.
Let's talk about food. And you've eaten, obviously, again, traveling so much, so many different places. Tell us about the food and what you enjoy about the food here.
Oh, the food is fantastic. I always say it reminds me of home. There are many from the little pastries to bacalhau. It really is home for me. So there is this beautiful simplicity in the Portuguese food, which it really gives you the real flavors of the food instead of like putting too many different spices, etc. So I truly like that real flavor of the different produce that they really get immediately from the farmers, and fish that is caught. I mean, again, in a fisherman town. I can see them coming daily. I see them go to the ocean and come back, bringing in fresh fish. I think it's truly unique to still have that kind of experience,
Yeah,
and also not to make it anything pretentious or fancy. That is what I like. I mean, I love obviously also, Michelin star
of course.
restaurants.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But that has its time and place. On a day-to-day basis, I really love going to local places and seeing what they're preparing for that day. And everything seems to be quite fresh. And that is something that I love also of the Portuguese tradition of making sure it's made that day and with heart and soul. But I find it just takes me home. And I think soulful food is so crucial to nurture our souls and also to keep us effective and productive. And it's just it's not the flavors, it's the scent that also hangs in the streets and the light that comes in. It just makes you takes you on a different level.
Have you visited other parts of Portugal?
Yes, so I've been actually in different parts. So from Alentejo, the coast, which is beautiful stretch of sandy beaches, to the inland where it's extremely dry. But I feel like it's this beautiful, slow living kind of way of going about a day-to-day life. It seems like time doesn't really pass by, but it does. To the south, and I'm an extremely fan of the north, where I find it magical, enchanting. It really takes you to a different experience. So I think also having that connection, again, going back to nature, having that connection, not only in a sensory experience, but also it takes you in a totally different world.
You started a nonprofit with the Young Art Collectors. Correct me if I'm saying this correct, they're getting the name right. But just tell us a little bit about that and how it came about and what you guys are up to.
The Young Collectors Circle is an initiative to bring art enthusiasts together. Basically, what we do as the Young Collectors Circle is we have monthly events where we bring people together. People that are interested in art, want to know more about art, know about art, but want to understand how to buy, collect, and go about. But also for people that have no notion about art, but just want to engage and understand it better. And right now, everything is for free. It's a beautiful community that brings in people that just want to be genuine and have conversations around art, but then they connect also obviously on different levels. And it brings both Portuguese and newcomers together.
But Jemi, what's one thing that you would like people to remember and take away from our conversation? Just one thing.
I think maybe it's not a word that I've really spoken out loud throughout our conversation, but I think joy, to love and to be grateful and have joy. I think that is extremely important anywhere you go to. It all boils back to it's extremely important to feel at home somewhere. But if you don't have those three aspects, I don't think you could be completely grounded and have the sense of belonging. So from self-care, self-love to that will also, whatever you hold for yourself, you will also show that to the world and you will receive that back in return. The gratitude, always be grateful for whatever you have in life, having those small little sparks in life, and that will result into joy. And I think that's crucial for us to bring into the world and receive it back in order to give again back and to continuously having that loop.
Jemi, a question that we ask all of our guests. Portugal, the simple life, why?
The slow and simple life to finding your true potential. I think that's what Portugal is about.
I like that. Very nice. Thank you so much for being on the podcast, Jemi. I've enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you so much, Dylan, for this conversation. And I look forward to many more.
Likewise. I'm going to let you call it.
It's a wrap.
So thank you once again to our guest, and thank you to all of you for listening. Please subscribe, share with your friends, give us a thumbs up, and please leave a comment or a review. We always love to hear from you. Don't forget, Portugal The Simple Life also has a magazine, so download it. It's for free. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode, and as we say in Portugal, sejas bem-vindo. Welcome to The Simple Life.